Welcome back to Nickel This Comic Corner Classic, Classic, Known Classics. This episode number 1919. It'll be 2047, Doubleshot number 1941. If you're curious what that sound is you might be hearing, it's my stomach growling. But hopefully I'll have lunch in the next few hours. Okay. First up we have, basically I should point out though, both this comic corner and the following one are basically, these are 4 Marvel trades due to these 2 videos. And 2 of these books are the final book to review for this particular run, for this particular series. Excuse me. Okay. Alright. Let's start off with Cable by Gerry Duggan, Volume 2. Yes, this is the finale for this one. Yep, the last trade that collects Gerry Duggan's one for Cable. And this pretty much is the end of Cable. I'll get to more of that in a minute. Mostly putting this one, as you can see on the cover, yes, Strife is back. Yep, Strife is back. I believe prior to this run, I think last time he was seen was actually back in at the current Volume X-Force with the previous Volume X-Force by Ed Bronson. Most of this one, basically first issue he's up with the beautiful Domino. Which was just kind of awkward around him because she's more used to the older version of Cable, the one she actually slept with. And at one point he asked her, "Did they ever call you Dom?" She's like, "No, you never did." Like, okay, yeah. So they look for these kidnappers who kidnap babies, and it turns out the master behind it is Strife himself. Yep, Strife himself, for reasons. He does bring up in the book something that never got in the last issues, that the reason why he's here because his older self failed at his mission. That's the reason why he's here. He's here also interacting with his sister, Rachel Gray, his father, Scott Summers, and his stepmother. Yes, his stepmother, Jean Grey. I say stepmother because here's kind of the weird thing about this. You see, Cable's mother is Madeline Pryor, who is Jean Grey's clone. Yeah, the whole thing with his mother is so confusing, to say the least. Yes, so there's the whole thing about changing a diaper with police, which is quite nice. I appreciate though that the police outside Krakatoa are not ready to be like complete racist toward, or at least bigots toward mutants. Pretty decent people. And also the fact that, well, Cable needs to... And of course, but halfway through these remaining issues, he decided, oh no, I kind of basically crap my mission. So, I need to bring back the old man Cable he killed back in the start of Extermination number 1. Which, by the way, that was back in 2018 when that happened. When this book came out toward the end of its run. The old man Cable, the Cable people more familiar with, he had been dead at this point for 3 years. 3 years, and he just gets brought back by the Krakatoa stuff. He gets brought back, and then the young Cable, Kid Cable, he just disappears. Goes off with the girlfriend book in present day, one of the Stepford Cuckoos. Yep. And, well, there's also with Last Night of Gandor, which I'm like, wait. And by the way, this character is so obvious when you see his character. Let me show this character off here. By the way, aside from the fact you have Gerry Duggan doing the writing, you have Phil Noel doing the artwork, but they have this Last Night of Gandor here. We also have Wildfire, which, based on his appearance, he's obviously a Rob Liefeld character, just like Cable is, and Domino. Yep. So yeah, let me find him here. And it's all about this sword that Kid Cable took at the start of the series. And the whole thing leading up to the whole thing with this guy here. The Last Night of Galador, which, obviously by appearance, it's like this character is supposed to be Rom. Yeah. Now, they never heard of Galador. There kind of is a reason for that. It's because of legal issues. You're thinking, what legal issues, per se, you might ask? Over Rom, the character. So, and here's the thing. The reason why they can't currently mention him at this point in time, because IDW held the rights to Rom. Yep, so, the biggest Last Night Galador, who Look at him; he looks exactly like. It's like this guy is supposed to be Rom. Yeah, that's pretty much what you can say that Gerry Duggan wanted. It's like this guy. He wanted this. Now, this is my person. I have never met Gerry Duggan. I think he wanted this to be Rom the Space Knight. Yes, just by sheer of his appearance. It's obviously supposed to be Rom, but they had to slightly alter it because Rom is owned by IDW. Though who knows of the reason. So, Old Man Cable is resurrected via the Cocoon stuff, which someone I know, Crimson, he first was basically, oh yeah, the excellent plant people. Really? He looks perfectly normal to me. He doesn't look like plant stuff to me. So then he comes back wearing this suit, his body slide, and he says, "Hey, that's right." And of course, then he gets his AI back, Bell, which is so nice. And then eventually, later on in the book, he does take off Kid Cable's army hat since the start of the run. Actually, ready to come back and give the. Oh, he does mention here that he still has the virus. He still has in his arm. He's had this as his debut, so apparently they couldn't remove it for some reason. He's like, go away, go ask Gateway. I'm meditating. I owe you a marker. Ooh, nice. Here. Well, I suppose surprised you get this another day. A marker from the old man. Yep. Yeah, and of course, because of course Cable's here, along with Domino, we gotta throw in frickin' Deadpool. Another Rob Liefeld character. My only guess is the reason we have to have this sort of reunion of Rob Liefeld characters, because Rob Liefeld is occasionally working with Marvel nowadays, doing the Deadpool Bad Blood series. And plus the Major X. Yeah, and then of course, Esme, he's like, smacks him, ooh. It's gonna be. We know the kid's missing, you're gonna fight. Why? So you can turn to gross old man here and run to you back to your future? I'm not turning man for a long time, but I got a hell of a lot of war behind me. I don't want to fight without you. He cures kids like yeah, Deadpool's like, oh, my mask's so dusty, he's growing before my eyes. So funny. Yep. Then you have Sky hang out with Jean. Now here's the thing that was pointed out at the start of the Krakatoa stuff. It was mentioned at the start of this that Jean Grey and Scott Summers are in fact divorced. And one person, Crimson, also implied that these two went a three-way with Wolverine. Well, I read that's not true at all. Nope. And of course, they battle Strife, and of course, well, they deal with Strife, and of course, they kill up this Strife by the end of issue 12. Yeah, and by the way, this Strife here is the one who has the face of the Kid Cable. This is the one Ed Bronson created. And he's killed, but don't worry, there's plenty more bodies in the future. So, and of course, the Sword of the Galador is sort of basically like this unnamed world. Apparently, it's supposed to grow something new here for this deserted planet. This may have been the old Galador planet from the old Rom series. I'm not sure. So then, of course, he goes back to the future. Of course, he goes to the Grand Milken 2. It's a spaceship that was in this series. Yeah, and of course, he basically takes what the army had. He gives him a new arm. Yeah, and of course, tells him to spoil the future. And of course, he goes back. And then apparently we see like a future Cable where he's with Esme here. And probably these two are still together all this time. Then of course they go back, and Cable goes to back, and the Cable goes to this future, where he becomes sort of a version of John Connor, and they deal with these two kids. One develops a mutant ability, and that's it. That's it for this particular series. Excuse me. So with this, basically, this is the end of Volume 2, and this is also another Gerry Duggan series I have fully reviewed. This ended surprisingly last year. This ended not long after Hellfire Gala came out. After that crossover came out, they actually had this book end after only 12 issues. Was it a terrible series? No, it was not. It was actually pretty good. I'm giving this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. My personal theory of the reason that Marvel had to end this series because I think, and this is my personal theory, I think a lot of people were not fans of the Kid Cable character. And in fact, he killed the real Cable, the one people are more familiar with. And maybe also because Rob Liefeld is back with the company, so they had to get rid of him. Technically, he doesn't die here per se. This is just him writing him off to another future to set more stuff for his own timeline stuff. But here's something quite interesting though. Once this book ended, Old Man Cable, the original Cable, he later popped up in Sword, and now he's currently appearing in X-Men Red. Yep. But this definitely is another... Now, I also have another theory why Gerry Duggan threw in Deadpool at this point in time. Not because Rob Liefeld's working with Marvel again, but also because, basically, he wrote Deadpool. I think this was the first time he wrote Deadpool at this point in time. First time in 3 years. Because... Wait, actually, scratch it. He did write him also in Sad Avengers. So with that, I've finished up another Gerry Duggan series. So, to date, I have fully reviewed his runs for Deadpool, Sad Avengers, this book, Marauders, and... I'm trying to think here. I have also an Archimander as well. Mm-hmm. Now, you're probably thinking for Gerry Duggan, okay? Like, what else is it left to go from aside from his current X-Men run? And also, apparently, Iron Man when it comes out. The answer, you might ask? Well, yeah. Basically, apparently, Deadpool was the first comic he worked on when he came to Marvel. Mm-hmm. I got that all done. Yes, I got done his Uncanny Avengers issue. Oh, yeah, I did get done his Nova run. I kind of almost forgot I did his Nova run. I did Deadpool the Gauntlet, his Hulk run. I'm looking at this right now. I think I've got done pretty much... I would say the only book left to go is probably Infinity Gauntlet. That's one book. Let's see. I'd say Infinity Gauntlet, Wolverine Infinity Watch, and that's it. But yeah, definitely. I have pretty much finished almost everything he's done for Marvel. Like, a lot of books for Marvel. Yeah, for his DC stuff, well, the only thing I have read from his DC work is that one Mr. Freeze one-shot he did. But that's it. Yep. But Gerry Duggan's a good writer. I do enjoy his Marvel work. But yeah, I reviewed pretty much almost everything he's done for Marvel to date, which is something. He's been at Marvel now for 10 years. Can you believe that? 10 years working at Marvel? Yeah. Surprisingly, he's done a lot of work for Marvel. And some of the first book he did was Deadpool. He did it with Brian Poussin. Next up we have is a book that came out roughly 8 years ago. Yeah, as a matter of fact, actually the final issue came out just 8 years ago this month. We have Access, Carnage, and Hobgoblin, 2 Spider-Man villains. Yes, these two are caught up in the events of Access. These two are 2 quick 3-issue miniseries that came out. Oh, and by the way, in case you're curious though, for this event, do I have anything left of this one? I have 1 book left, Access Revelations, and that is it. And that's basically a spotlight book. I'll eventually review that at some point. Mm-hmm. Now, the Carnage miniseries is done by Rick Spears, art by German Perdita. The Hobgoblin miniseries, I never really do this one. This is by Kevin Stunick. Artwork and the coloring is done by Javier Rodriguez. The Carnage miniseries is first, which I can tell with the cover that's Clayton Crane who does the artwork. Actually, it's Alexander Lorenz, but yeah, it looks a lot like Clayton Crane's art, but it really isn't. So, mostly put this whole Carnage miniseries for Access. This is another Carnage miniseries. This is him acting as a hero, mostly. It's just him basically saving people, knocking people out, not killing them per se. And of course, he's fighting the Sin Eater. Well, not the original Sin Eater. Oh, Sin Eater's been dead for some time. Yeah, that's the main villain's miniseries, Sin Eater. You might be thinking, because Hobgoblin's here, does Spider-Man pop in this miniseries? Shockingly, no, he doesn't. It's mostly looks more of his backstory. It's mostly put what he's been up to, like on the side where he's not dealing with the whole Access stuff. Is Carnage supposed to be a hero? Because he's inverted. Yep. Yeah, and then we have the Hobgoblin miniseries. This one's a lot of fun, this one. Mostly put basically when Hobgoblin became a good guy, he decided to start shelling out a bunch of basically self-help books. He's got a massive celebrity now, and who would have thunk basically making Hobgoblin a good guy for a quick period of time was a good idea. And apparently also he started his own version of Hobgoblins. They also brought back Lily Collins, who at one point was, get this, a Basically one of the goblins. She basically also one point she's also the mother of Normia, not Normia, of Stanley Osborn. Yes. Yeah, she was one point Menace. Yep, Menace. Yeah, and she pops up here for this miniseries. Do not know the reason why they had her pop up here, but she did. And here she's for as Queen Cat. Yep. And that is her current alias, is Queen Cat, and that's what she's currently known as currently. She basically at one point was like a goblin queen. Yeah, and here's something interesting though about her. Like after this miniseries wrapped up, you might be curious though. Did she pop in a book after this one? Yes, she did. She popped up in a couple issues of Black Cat, and that's basically been it for her. She popped up in the, I think, yeah, this was the final issue of the first volume of Black Cat. And then she also popped up in issue 4 of the second volume, which was after the Infinity tie-in. And that's basically been it for her. You could kind of say basically Marvel kind of wrote her off afterwards. Yeah, because she's here just for this one issue, issue 4 for Black Cat Volume 2. Yeah, it's like they bring her in and then she doesn't do anything much afterwards. No, seriously, she does practically nothing. They do bring up the events of, in this miniseries, bring up the events of Spider-Man several times, including what happened in issue of, I think it was like Superior Spider-Man Team Up. I think it was in the final issue when they had Hobgoblin confront Green Goblin. Yep. But yeah, in case you're curious though, does Roger Kingsley pop up after this miniseries wraps up? Yes, he does. Yes, after this miniseries wrapped up, and after the whole action stuff wrapped up, he later popped up as a recurring villain for Spider-Woman for a few issues. Yes, seriously. In issue Jessica Jones, in issue of America, he was part of a Sinister Six that was led by the Prowler. This was Aaron, basically was Miles' uncle. He also popped up in the Ray miniseries. And his most recent issue, he just appeared in the All-Spirited issue for Marvel Snapshots, Marvel Voices Legacy. But his most recent appearance actually fairly recently in the fairly recent issue for Amazing Spider-Man by Zeb Wells. And that's basically what he did. And in case you're curious though, yes, he did turn to be a good guy afterwards. But Carnage, well, he was something else altogether. Yeah, as soon as Axis was over with, he basically went back to be a villain. Like basically a cold-hearted killer. And the thing is, this thing were only just in this one miniseries, and that's it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as for who this Indiator was, it's never really explicitly revealed. I think it was somebody else, but not really. They also debut a quick character, Alice Gleason, who's only just in this miniseries. And surprisingly, she has not popped up since then. As for Cletus, well, he died. Yeah, he's been dead since Absolute Carnage, but he's still somehow still alive. But after this event wrapped up, he got into a fight with Nova. Yeah, Sam Alexander. Where he basically just dropped out of prison and ran away after he beat him. Yep. That's pretty much what he did as soon as this event wrapped up. Mm-hmm. But then afterwards, after popping an issue for Deadpool, he had a very short-lived ongoing series. It lasted for a whopping 16 issues. I've met both people who worked on this book, Gerry Conway and Mike Perkins. Like, they didn't think this book would sell, and book did sell. I actually owned the first 2 trades. I never got hands on the third one because it basically is mostly at print nowadays. But after that miniseries wrapped up, his ongoing series, he popped up and Venomized, a few Web of Venom one-shots, and most of what he was still doing is still with Absolute Carnage. But after Absolute Carnage wrapped up, he had, of course, another miniseries, Carnage Black, White, and Blood was an anthology book, Venom/Carnage, which is a digital book, which I know he was about that long. And he popped up for the first issue of the new Carnage book, which does not feature him as the main character. Nope, not really. He's mostly in a flashback. He's still dead. But yeah, it is interesting the fact that he still kind of appears. But yeah, this book is really good. I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Just damn good book. Of the two books, I actually the Hobgoblin one a little more than I did the Carnage one. Oh, by the way, they actually have a bunch of Carnage leftovers, per se. And it is nice, though, that this miniseries actually had an effect on a character who still appears. Who's appeared a few times since then. Lily Holster, who's going by Queen Cat. Everybody thinking, that's surprising. The fact that one character appeared in this miniseries, and she's still going by the alias. She's not gone back to Menace. Nope, she's now going by... Of course, we just saw appearances in here. Now, the main villain of that miniseries was Phil Urch, who at that point was still going by the name of Goblin King. Yeah, he became the new Goblin King right after, I believe it was... Because basically he took over... It was implied they kind of wrapped this up with the end of the Silk book, but apparently now they don't do very much nowadays. Not really. After this miniseries wrapped up, the Goblin Nation popped up for a couple issues of Graveyard Shift, the opening issue of the Volume 4 Missing Spider-Man. Appeared as the main villain in the first arc of the second volume for Silk. 2 issues of Spider-Man. This was the Miles Morales book. Issue 7 and 12. 20, excuse me. But their last no appearance was back in Amazing Spider-Man 796. That was the last time the Goblin Nation was ever seen in comics. Yes. But as for Phil Urch, who's still going by Goblin King, he's dead. Yeah. Apparently they said they kill him off. Yeah, he's still dead. He's, prior to his death, he didn't really do very much at all. Not really. Like, after this miniseries wrapped up, he pretty much was appearing in those books that I mentioned, and that's pretty much it for him. Yeah, it's shocking how Slott killed him off, and unlike in the case of what happened with unlike in the case of what happened with Flash Thompson when he got revived, not really. Not in the case of Goblin King. Oh no, he's dead. Completely and utterly dead. Yeah, he got killed off here. And he's been dead now for almost 4 years. Surprisingly, he kept that for that long. But it's something, though, like, after these 2 mini-series wrapped up, they didn't do very much afterwards. And of the 2 protagonists, Roger King is still alive and kicking. He's still around. Carnage is dead. Goblin King is dead. Lee Holster is still left alive. And, of course, at the end of these the mini-series for Hobgoblin, he killed off that version of Sin Eater. That was just a stand-in for Sin Eater. Though, of course, the proper Sin Eater was brought back in the Expenses Run for Amazing Spider-Man, which, yeah, that was kind of weird how they brought him back there. Okay? But yeah, that's particular view. Next up, another Comic Corner and another wrap-up of another series. Okay? Next video. Bye.